All right, it's the ladies' turn in the 800-meter freestyle. Let's introduce you to these swimmers from bottom to top down in lane number 1. That's Erin McCready of Bangor. Lane number 2, Tara English of Aer Lingus. Lane number 3, Wendy O'Neill of Aer Lingus. Lane number 4, Kelsey Cummings for the NCSA All-Americans. Lane number 5, that's Rachel Narath, also for the NCSA All-Americans. Lane number 6, Niamh O'Sullivan of Kingdom. Lane number 7, Allison Halsey of NCSA All-Americans. Lane number 8, that's Therese Corey of Port Marnock. Lane number 8, Sarah Kelly of Comins, and in lane number 9 was Sarah Kelly, and lane number 10 is Aiden Walsh of St. Paul's. So last night we watched Courtney Otto and Megan Gilbreth battle it out in the 1500. Neither of those girls here in the 800, which may open it up for the third place finisher last night, Rachel Narath, but a similar trend from yesterday's 1500. Kelsey Cummings leading out Narath at the 100. Cummings with a very aggressive tempo, 103.83 her first split. Narath flips second at the 100, 104.14. Those of you guys who tuned in for our broadcast of the NCSA Junior National Championships definitely remember the name Rachel Narath. She won every single freestyle event except for the 50 at that short course yards meet back in March. And you can tell this weekend she's in some heavy training again. That was obviously her taper meet. She's back into some hard training. I know on the Saturday before we came here to Ireland, Coach Jeff Brown had the girls in for what he called a loosen up, and it ended up being a 6,100 yard loosen up. Not much of a splash and wake up there. That's pretty much a workout in most people's books. So they're definitely in some hard training right now. Narath maybe rested for a day, but they were still doing doubles all the way through Thursday, all the way through Wednesday, the day before the meet starts. Narath now in the lead, 2:10.90. Right there in lane number 5. Kelsey Cummings hanging in there for second. And up there in lane number 6, that's Niamh O'Sullivan of Kingdom, sitting in third place right now. One thing you notice about Rachel Narath right off the bat is that 6-beat kick. Doesn't matter if it's 100 or a 1500, that's how she swims all the time, and that's something we've noticed with a lot of the best distance swimmers in the world. Last night, Megan Gilchrist had that 6-beat kick working for an entire 1500. I talked to Megan's coach this a little bit earlier today. Bud McAllister used to coach a pretty famous name for us American swim fans. Ever heard of Janet Evans? That was one of Bud McAllister's former swimmers when he coached back in the States. So he's definitely got the experience with the distance swimmers, and now he's really doing it for Great Britain with a pair of very talented young distance swimmers. One of which was Megan Gilchrist, who we saw last night winning the 1500. Another one you European fans would definitely remember from the Duel in the Pool versus Germany earlier this fall, where Jazz Carlin really had a breakout meet for Great Britain. Both Jazz and Megan have got a little competition in those middle distance races with the likes of Rebecca Adlington and Joe Jackson, two of the most talented 400 freestylers in the world. But Buck McAllister does a great job. Coach McAllister does a great job of getting those guys, those ladies, right in the mix there. As Narath flips at 4:25 at the halfway mark, she's now opened up a body and a half to 2 body lengths over her NCSA teammate Kelsey Cummings, who's putting together a great swim as well. Really good interview with Bud McAllister this morning. If you guys get a chance after this broadcast, go over to swimmingworld.tv and watch it. We might even be able to show you some of it during this live broadcast. We'll see if we have time. As we see Rachel Norath flipping at the 450. Really high elbows. One of the things you'll notice about Rachel is that clean front end. She carries 0 bubbles into the front end of her stroke. Just really smooth at the front end. Another interesting interview that if you guys haven't had a chance to check out, you should, is Jeff Brown's interview when we talked a little bit of stroke. Now Rachel, like most young swimmers, has some things that maybe look a little less than perfect as she flips with the lead at the 500, 5:32.93. But Jeff had a pretty good reference. He referenced a Olympic gold medal marathon runner who ran with a hitch in his arm, and for a long time coaches tried to change it and tried to tuck his elbow in so that he wouldn't run with that little hitch, and they started doing some studies on him. They broke it down and put him into a computer program, and they found out that the runner, and his name escapes me, you'll have to go and watch the interview to get that name, but the runner had one leg that was 2 inches shorter than the other. And when they ran this computer program, the ideal balanced stride included the hitch that this runner naturally had, that all these great Hall of Fame coaches tried to fix. So the point being that Jeff doesn't necessarily have the access to all of the information that he needs to know about some of his swimmers' strokes. And if that's the way that they're getting it done, to a certain extent, it's got to be within a certain outline. They got to be doing things right. And maybe if there's a hitch, you see a guy like Michael Klee who has a little bit of he comes right under his body right before his finish. Rachel Norath, 6:40.36 with 200 meters to go. Michael Klee, even Clay Youngquist, who we just saw battle it out in that 800, has a little bit of a recovery right under his body. And obviously these guys are both very effective swimmers, but you know, swimmers kind of find the natural way of putting themselves through the water that maybe with the information that coaches have, they can't necessarily correct because maybe they're doing it more efficiently based on what they feel. And so that was one of Jeff's points, is that sometimes you got to let these swimmers kind of have their own approach and their own way of doing things. You see it in baseball with batting stances. You see it with different styles and all sorts of strokes throughout this sport. And it's a very interesting interview. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's called Different Strokes for Different Folks, and you can watch it on Swimming World TV. And obviously what he's doing with Rachel Norath is working, because look at that beautiful stroke. And she's about 100 meters from victory here as she flips at the 700. 7:47.60 for Norath. Kelsey Cummings maintaining that second place position, flipping at 7:53.63. There's Kelsey Cummings. That's the same tempo she had on the first 50, ladies and gentlemen. That's how aggressive she is. That's just the way some distance swimmers are built. They're able to have a motor that you would think can't sustain for a distance event, but that's exactly how Kelsey Cummings swims it. Rachel Norath, though, putting together a swim that we've been waiting for the past couple days. She had a pretty tough lineup yesterday with the 200 fly. She swam the 200 fly and the 200 free in prelims, then swam the 1500, scratched from the 200 free, and now she's got a chance to take her first win of the weekend. Rachel Norath, your champion in the 800 freestyle, 8:53.46 for Norath. Kelsey Cummings touches second, 8:59.27, also squeaks under that 9-minute mark, and rounding out the top three in lane number 6 is Niamh O'Sullivan. Rachel Norath visibly not too happy with that time, but you got to be happy with the win, especially in your first international meet, as we watch the rest of the field finish out this 800-meter freestyle. O'Sullivan touches third in a time of 9:06.90. So again, your winner, Rachel Norath, 8:53.46.